So here we are at Coed Hills, Rural Art Space in Wales. It's a beautiful day, as you can see from the sunshine here. We're here for the forest gardening weekend. Great weekend for it. This milk float here, full of bits of old cardboard boxes, that's for the mulching of the trees, and we're going to go and do some of that now, I think. Here we've got the tree bog, composting toilets with the trees planted round. They're very nice. Sink for washing the hand, and urinal for the men, boy wee as it says there. Straw, the carbon in the straw can soak up the nitrogen in the piss, make it double good for compost. Let's go and see what's happening with the course. Digging the first tree. Lots of smelly manure over there. There's Martha. Lots of cardboard for mulching.
So that's where we're going to plant. So if we ask Rose to get the appropriate pair, check the map. Oh, camera. So you've like named each tree? No, that would have been very cute. They're the varieties. Henry, Gertrude, Molly.
Here you can see the watering system that's been dug in to the land on the contoil. I'm sure we'll hear more about that later. They're selecting the trees that we're going to plant today. This first hole.
So this is obviously a hole we dug earlier. That's about the size you need, and before you start digging, it's best if you remove the turf, because that will be replaced later upside down. So is everyone okay with methods of removing the turf? You just mark it out, kind of cut the roots through the spade. I'll just do a little square. Then you can kind of get in underneath it and remove it like that. And then you keep that to one side, because that will be your final layer upside down. So, this is a hole we dug earlier, so you didn't have to watch us digging the holes. And one of the important things, it's best if you dig the hole first before you come and get the tree, because the little roots will die quite quickly in the cold air and the drying conditions. So if you dig your hole first, and then with a fork, just loosen up the whole area so you're giving it the best conditions for root penetration once it gets there. Now all bare rooted trees like this, we are going to dip in our mycorrhizal gel.
So this is 18 different varieties of mycorrhizal fungi that associate with plant roots. Basically massively improves the plant's ability to take up nutrients, for holding water, all manner of things, something that exists in ancient woodlands, but if you're planting straight into a pasture, those things aren't going to exist here. So this really improves the tree's chances. It also helps, because this is a fairly clay soil, it's quite a good soil, but
do you want to fuck it? Yeah.
Really helps to help the plant break down the clay around it as well.
Have you made that up or bought it as is?
This is root grow. It's called. Right. Basically, this is available only from one company in the UK at the moment. Yeah, it works out about £50 for a 2.5 litre tub, and that's enough to do most of the trees here.
Right. Okay.
What we're going to do is, because it's not enough to do all of them, what you can do is plant every other tree with this inoculant, and then act as hosts for the other trees that haven't got it. So over the number of years it will spread out, linked onto our trees, and they'll get the same benefit.
Okay, so important things to remember when you're planting fruit trees is that they're grafted. We'll talk about this a bit later, or tomorrow. You need to look for the graft which is here. So this is where the top tree variety has been grafted onto the rootstock. And you want to make sure that this graft is nowhere near in contact with the soil. So this has to be way and above the ground layer. Because otherwise, if this is in contact with the soil, it might start rooting from here, thereby you're negating your rootstock, which we'll talk about tomorrow. So basically, when you're planting trees, it's kind of almost like building a sculpture or something. It's three-dimensional, and so you want to spread the roots out as much as possible and kind of recreate the pattern that they would have been in the nursery, rather than just lumping them all in. So, and the other thing that we're adding to the soil is rock dust, which is this is a pH neutral rock dust, and what it does is it's got a massive surface area because it's made up of loads of tiny little granules, and so that aids water retention and aeration, and it also is a slow release soil conditioner. So it's over this amount will probably sort this tree out for about 5 years, and then you can apply it as a top dressing. So
I'm sorry, do you guys want to maybe walk around this way so you're not looking into the sun, and maybe
yeah.
it looks like we're having everyone's
so if you
shading
mix
their eyes.
in
Come around
some of that rock dust with that soil, and then start filling in the. So sprinkling in some of the rock dust, and then mixing the rest in with the
Using about a pint to half a pint per hole. So the rest of that just gets chucked up here.
And with the roots being put in, you want to make sure that they're all pointing down, so they're not kind of splayed up out of the hole like that, because they won't grow. So if I hold the tree like this and just start filling her in. Oh, that's the one thing that we always forget, Rich.
What's that?
The stake.
Oh yes, tree stake,
Going down the
essential.
stake.
Oh, we need to get a good hammer, don't we?
Yeah, mallet.
So that's the other thing that we always seem to forget whenever we've done this before, is the stake.
And the mallet as well. That's probably alright.
That'll be alright for now, we can hammer in later.
If you see any big clumps as well, just try and bust them up a bit. Yeah.
You don't want it to be going through the roots of the tree.
And the size of the hole now, but the diameter, that's determined basically by the diameter of the root ball which you've got
Yeah.
at the
Plus a
bottom
good
there. So
bit of give around.
if it's spread out more, then
Yeah.
you need to dig out a bit.
Yeah, so once you've planted all this, it's a good idea before you put the top mulch down
Yeah.
to go around with a fork and loosen up all of this area around, so you're giving the tree the best chance to get its roots through. I mean, this is actually quite good soil. When we first started planning the forest garden, we thought we were working with very heavy clay, but actually beautiful soil.
Do you have the stake positioned one side further away from the wind or anything?
Yeah, so you go with this because we're in a mixture of the two here, southwest. We're more open to the north and east winds, fairly central positions, so a bit of break from both really.
She's 1 or 2 years old. 2 years old.
Would you source the trees from anywhere?
These ones, the majority of these trees will come from Coed Hills, which is a quite local fruit nursery near Llandilo. And they specialise obviously in growing trees that are well adapted to the conditions in Wales,
Yeah.
which is windy and wet. That's quite a good tip really, is when wherever you're planting trees, try and go for the most locally sourced varieties you can, because they will be the best adapted, especially because this